Namaste. Today we have assembled here in Professor Ramanna's house. Professor Ramanna is our beloved teacher. He is our not only teacher but also mentor, and he also trained us in research, teaching and extension and economics. Today we have assembled here to release the book in the honor of Professor Ramanna, essays which have been written by his students and his admirers. Let us start with the Ganapati Prarthana. Shri Gananatham Bhajave Chitta Parashakti Yutam. Shri Gananatham Bhajave Chitta Parashakti Yutam. Shri Gananatham Bhajave Nagayajna Sutradharam Nadalagyanandakaram. Nagayajna Sutradharam Nadalagyanandakaram. Nagayajna Sutradharam Nadalagyanandakaram. Shri Gananatham Bhajale Chitta Parashakti Yutam. Shri Gananatham Bhajale Agamadi Sandrutam Akilakapujitam Yogishali Bhagitam Bhogishali Seditam Agamadi Sandrutam Akilakapujitam Yogishali Bhagitam Bhogishali Seditam Ragadvesha Virahita Ramaniya Hridaya Muditam Shri Guruguha Sammuditam Chinnula Kamalakritam Shri Gananatham Bhajale Ragadvesha Virahita Ramaniya Hridaya Muditam Shri Guruguha Sammuditam Chinnula Kamalakritam Shri Gananatham Bhajale Chitta Parashakti Yutam Shri Gananatham Bhajale. Now I request Professor Mruthyunjaya, one of the first students of Professor Ramanna, who rose to the position of Deputy Director General of ICR, to speak a few words about the book.
Most respected Professor Ramanna, equally respected Professor Nadkarni, Professor Chandrakant, Sri Ganesh, Srinivas, we have assembled here for the release of a book in honor of our great professor, Professor Ramanna. We have heard a very nice invocation by Professor Chandrakant. I think he has made a very good beginning for a small, brief function. We wanted to have a bigger function, but for various reasons we could not do that. I think it is a very simple. One can imagine that a function can be as simple as this. But for us, it is a great occasion in our life, and therefore we are assembled here to remember Professor Ramanna in terms of his great contributions as well as his personal qualities, which inspired us and always made us on track to achieve goals which he has set for us when he served as teacher and later as advisor, mentor, and right through. I think we are remembering it. Now I would like to, with your kind permission, would like to read about the book. The book, we were discussing a while ago that it took nearly 5 years. For example, the planning for the book started on June 2019. 2019, because I was outside Bangalore for quite some time, and we came back in 2016, 15, 16, and we were in touch with Dr. Lalit, another professor and student of Prof Ramanna, and another student, Dr. Arun Kumar. They approached me, sir, we want to do this job, and will you help us? So at that time, since I was also a student of him, I couldn't say no to them. So therefore, that was the first meeting for planning the whole work. So therefore, now if you count the time between 2019 June to this, it is almost 5 years. But COVID came in between and took lot of heavy toll of the time and energy for all of us, the contributors. And therefore it got delayed. I was speaking to Professor Nadkarni. Yes sir, it took more time, but yes, we have the satisfaction that we have completed the task which we have taken, and now we are happy that we are presenting the book to him formally in a printed form, the final version, because we had presented him a draft version a year ago, and it was always hanging on our head that to see that it is presented to him when he is alive. So therefore we thought that we should not waste our time, and therefore we took that time, and then we made a presentation and then presented to him that book. But now we have the final copy which is published now in public domain. So therefore we thought that we should do that, and we were waiting for one person who was also a kind of student of him to come, and then he occupies a higher position in the office in the government. So therefore we were waiting, but it was not convenient to him. And then when we approached Professor Nadkarni, he was so generous and kind that he readily agreed, and we are highly indebted to you, sir. Now, Indian agriculture. Now, about the book, I would just make a few observations. Indian agriculture needs to address 5 great challenges, among others, namely providing food security, adoption to and mitigation of climate change, efficient use of natural resources, providing gainful employment and adequate income to farmers, and enhancing competitiveness in Indian agriculture. Providing gainful employment, adequate income to farmers, and enhancing competitiveness have become much more important these days. The book, with focus on Karnataka, aims at and has admirably succeeded in explaining how and how far these challenges are being met through a comprehensive overview of range of concepts, methods, strategies, and policies in agriculture, natural resource management, environmental economics, production economics, supply and service support system, and also finally suggesting strategies for meeting these 5 and other challenges. Karnataka began with farming-centric agricultural policy as back as 1995. Perhaps Karnataka is one of the first states to venture into coming out with a formal agricultural policy as early as 1995. I think you should be proud of it. Change to farmer-centric. So, farming-centric to farmer-centric in 2006, coinciding with Professor Swaminathan's report and all that. I think they also undertook a revision of the 1995 policy and came out with a farmer-centric policy in 2006. And most recently, farm firm-centric policy since 2020. with the demands of the time, I think firm-centric focus was brought into the policy. The book provides a critical and competent review of agricultural policy and performance of Karnataka and concludes that its implementation has been far from satisfactory. Investments in agriculture have not produced the expected impact, and the farmers' distress is continuing. The book calls it more investment, less impact paradox, development deficit, institutional failure. I think these are the ways in which it summarizes the failure of the policy to meet the expectations of the policymakers and the people. It explains why it has been so, necessitating the need for speed, scale, and substance of transformational change, disruptive changes, in other words, kind of a change that requires to be seen in terms of meeting these complex challenges in policy making, practice, and follow-up. I think these are the three key words when we talk of policy, that policy making is only one aspect, but practicing it and following it up. As a follow-up of that, what happens when the policy is practiced? Most importantly, the book provides Karnataka agricultural transformation model with the strategies, minimum action plan for speeding and scaling up development performance in the state, like attaining 4.5% growth in agriculture, doubling of farmers' income, achieving sustainable development goals by 2030, and several other such laudable goals that are set to see that what kind of a transformation is required to see that those goals are met. To usher in much desire, in fact, the dream of Kannadigas to attain Suvarna Karnataka by 2030. And this was the dream of policies since 1995 to establish a kind of a Suvarna Karnataka by this state. The suggested strategies are based on three principles: consolidating the gains from continuing policies 1995 onwards, of course after a careful review of their shortcomings and the strengths; extending the gains to uncovered areas. Third principle, making new gains by addressing new challenges with creative directions and determinants. The strategies or short-term action plan which are spelled out include caring foundation of growth, accelerating productivity growth in primary agriculture, setting new directions and determinants for agricultural transformation, and enhancing profitable and competitive, both in cost and quality, growth in primary agriculture with wide vision covering education, technology, extension, efficient supply chain management, non-farm employment in rural and semi-urban areas, data analytics, and farmer-friendly governance. Now this is about, in brief, the book, its main content and its thrust. Now coming to Professor Ramanna. Professor Ramanna has been a great popular teacher of agricultural economics in Karnataka, and it is most welcome that his admiring students have got together to produce this excellent book in his honor. The book rightly starts with paying a rich tribute to Professor Ramanna's contributions in a chapter written by Professor Chandrakant as an effective teacher, good researcher, and able administrator, and above all, most importantly, as a role model in maintaining the highest standards in virtues, values, ethics, and manners of life, along with strict discipline and deep dedication and commitment. I think these are the virtues with which everyone got fascinated. While choosing him as the mentor of his life. In fact, if I have to speak to, in my case, I was, after completing my BSc Agriculture, I was to select for my master, which is the, area of specialization. Since I stood first to the graduation at that year, during 69, I finished my graduation, I could have selected any subject, I could have got it. But I had selected two subjects to begin with. One soil science, another economics. Soil science was headed by one Professor Peru, a great teacher again. And economics by Professor Ramanna. I applied for both, and there was a common interview. There was a board, where a dean used to sit, and then all the head of the divisions used to sit, and then the student has to come and defend his application. So when I entered, the dean introduced me to the whole group, and then asked Professor Peru, what is your observation on Dr. Mruthyunjaya and his application? He said, yes, I would like to add. Then, so since he has also applied for economics, he turned to Professor Ramanna, and Professor Ramanna said, as expected, yes, I want to get him into the discipline. Then, the dean said, now it is your turn to choose which one. No, it flex. I said economics. And that decided my destiny so far. I am before you and before all of you as an economist. So that is the kind of aura he has over people. And that's how he has decided the destiny of several students in their whole life. And then we all remember, cherish his life as a mentor, and we owe a gratitude and a debt that we cannot return, but definitely we can think of working something like that which may contribute to liquidating some of his contributions towards building our personality. Now, the edited book written by 40 authors and co-authors contains 361 pages spread over 5 chapters besides introduction, 64 figures, 57 tables, published by prestigious Routledge of Taylor and Francis Group, United Kingdom, will be of great interest to students, researchers, development practitioners, and policy makers working in various fields of agricultural economics, sustainable development, public policy, rural sociology, political economy, economics of innovation, institutional economics, and industrial development. A wide canvas of development economics is covered in the subject. Of interest to several groups like this which I have talked about, and therefore the utility of the book is both deep and wide. I think that is the kind of the book that we have tried our best. As Professor Bishlaya has rightly observed, that the book provides a valuable template for study of agricultural sector in other states also as well. And all the state level studies could provide a strong micro foundation for designing macro development model for agricultural sector for the whole of India and developing countries at large. I think that is the strength of the book in terms of its template, in terms of its contents, in terms of its model, so that if it can be replicated across the states, and if we consolidate or synthesize them across the states, the development, macro development model for the whole of India can be obtained. Niti Ayog is the right platform for taking up such an initiative. This in turn would be a great honor to this great teacher, Professor Ramanna. That's what actually is the words of Dr. Bishlaya in his preface which he has written. We most respectfully salute Sir Ramanna Sir for inspiring and empowering us to continue your rich legacy tradition of maintaining highest standard in personal life and promoting excellence in teaching, education. No, we can spend hours on explaining how he was a model in each one of them. He used to say several things. He said, for coming to teach 1 hour, he said that every day I spend 4 hours to come prepared, well prepared, and then the way in which he used to teach in the class is something which always we remember, that we have no option but to learn and be better. Policy making and practice in agricultural economics. We wish him and his family, Ganesh sir, and his family sound health, long and happy life ahead. For all of you, we together. Now, on behalf of all the students, admirers, we are contributors to this volume, we wish to him a long and happy life, and to you as well. Convey this to your missus and your children.
Sure.
Okay? We profusely thank Professor M.V. Nadkarni, a doyen agriculture development economist, for kindly accepting our request to release the book and present it to Professor Ramanna. Shall we request him to present the book to Ramanna? Sir, please do that. We would be very, very happy to do that. Kindly take photograph is taken, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Faculty.
All right, sir.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಮೃತ ಹಸ್ತದಿಂದ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ.
You are the right person to present to him, sir. We are all.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Finally, I am deeply indebted to Professor Chandrakant, Dr. Lalit Achut, which we are missing him today for some reasons beyond his control, for their immense help and support in editing and publishing the book. I think I can tell a lot about that, how they helped me particularly, but they are my left and right hands in producing this book, and therefore I am personally indebted to you, Professor Chandrakant and Professor Lalit, in absentia, I would tell. We are grateful to Professor Bislaya for his acceptance to write the foreword to the book. I am highly thankful to all the authors and co-authors for their contributions. As I said, there are 40 authors and co-authors of the book, and their cooperation in editing the articles without minding the repeated critical editorial comments, and sometimes even as harsh as rejection. So therefore we had the displeasure of them in terms of seeing that at least the volume should be of some standard equivalent to Professor Ramanna. That's what we tried. I don't know whether we succeeded or not, but only you can tell us finally. But we tried our best to see that the best is presented to him. We are highly grateful to Mrs. Taylor and Francis Group, Routledge publishers, particularly Antara Ray, Shloka Chauhan, Daniel Andrew, for quick review of the draft book proposal and accepting to publish the book and publishing it on time. I must say, when we presented the draft book to the Routledge publishers, they sent it to the 2 reviewers. I don't know, they're all anonymous reviewers, but they shared the reviewers' comments when we were starting the publishing business. I think the review was so good. They said, no, the publisher asked them, is there any need to revise it somewhere? They said, no, not at all. It is intact, it is good, as such it can go for printing. Except in the final chapter, if they want to dilate a little on Karnataka agricultural transformation model, more explicitly known, they can do that. Otherwise, it is complete in all respects. In other words, we were happy at the beginning itself that we can right away go to publishing. So that kind of a start we had in terms of publishing this book. So therefore, I am highly grateful to all of our friends, students, admirers who had contributed to this book to help me to help in presenting the book, with all of your cooperation. So I'm grateful to all of you. Thanks for listening to my.
Thank you.
Okay, stand. BT Srinivasa. BT Srinivasa. He's an MSc Economics and an entrepreneur in the pharmaco softwares. He is very successful. Very successful. Motivator, entrepreneur.
Baby steps.
Nice. Good. We are waiting for Professor Nadkarni to speak.
So, age that can take sense.